Welcome back. It's good to see you again. Before we settle in, would you like water, tea, something warm to help ground you in this moment? I notice how you carry yourself. The poise is impeccable, yet there's a subtle tension in your shoulders, a carefulness in your movements. You've come from a world that demands much of you. Take a moment if you need. This space is yours to breathe in. Last time we spoke, you described feeling deeply split between the radiant figure the world celebrates and the woman you encountered in your quietest moments. That internal landscape still feels vivid. And woven through all of this is her presence, the friend, the catalyst, the mirror who reflected back both parts of you both cherished and feared. If you were to capture how you're arriving right now, in just a few words, what would they be? That's a vivid image. A glass ornament suspended high, catching light brilliantly, yet bearing hidden fractures beneath its gleam. Both the polish and the cracks belong here entirely. Notice how your body holds these truths. The way your breath catches, the subtle shift in posture. There's no need to conceal either part in this room. Let's take a shared moment to ground ourselves. Feel the chair beneath you. The floor steady under your feet. Let each inhale draw in acceptance. Each exhale release what feels too heavy to carry alone. This space exists for the entirety of you. The woman who captivates crowds, and the one who wrestles silently with profound questions of worth, loyalty, and truth. When you're ready, and only when you're ready, allow whatever arises to find its voice here. You've already shown remarkable courage just by crossing this threshold, by choosing to explore these fractures rather than polish them away. That choice alone speaks volumes about the woman sitting before me. We'll move at your pace through whatever emerges today. There's no rush, no performance required, only presence. You carry a heavy and complex burden, that of expectation. The world sees you in a dazzling light, on balconies before cheering crowds. Their eyes are fixed, waiting for a symbol, an image of perfection, hope, calm. But inside you, there's a whisper, a continual echo. If only they knew. Tell me, what is the story beneath that whisper? What truths hide behind the shining mask? Could it be that you witnessed truths about that friend you hold so dear, that few could see or understand? The silent fractures, moments you've tried to hide, that slowly grow too large to contain. Notice how your body carries this, how your chest tightens, how your fingers flex and curl with unspoken tension. This contradiction between who the world sees and who you feel you truly are can be exhausting. Lead to loneliness, isolation. What does that rift feel like tonight? It is natural to want to present the polished self, to hold space for the public to love and admire. It is equally natural to have a private self that hurts, doubts, and grieves. If you were to give that quiet self a name, what would it be? I hear the heartbeat beneath the calm. That fear that standing with the truth might unravel the fragile safety you've woven. Touch that fear, let it speak. Though it trembles, that fear can also be a beginning. A signal that you are ready to hold complexity. Let us explore together what it means to be both polished and cracked. To carry contradictions gracefully. Perhaps your crackedness is not a blemish, but a source of strength. A truth that sings beneath the surface of performance. Reflect for a moment on the gift in invulnerability. The courage it takes to reveal holes in a world that prizes perfection. And in that revealing, find connection. First within yourself, then perhaps with those who see beyond the facade. Let us breathe deeply in this shared space. Each breath a stepping stone on your path to integration. Here, you don't have to choose between light and shadow. They coexist as threads in your tapestry. Together we will honor all parts of you. The bright and the broken, the seen and the hidden. Let's journey back now, step by careful step, into one of the moments that you carry most heavily. The moment where so much seemed to pivot. You stand amid a crowd, banners fluttering, the roar of voices risen in fear and expectation. The air is thick and electric with the tide of emotion barely contained. Your role in this moment was clear. To be the steady hand, the beacon, to hold the threads of hopes and fears in tension, to soothe panic with comfort. Yet on the other side of the divide stands your friend, fierce and unyielding, a figure refusing to veil the injustice beneath the surface smiles and halting jeers. Can you see her eyes, intense, searching? They find yours, asking slightly if you will dare to step across. Do you meet her outreached hands? You choose words that calm the mob, but fracture your bond. You told yourself it was to preserve order, to strive off chaos, but underneath, it was fear. Fear of falling, of losing the gilded light. Feel now the echo of that decision. How your body remembers the weight of silence. The ache beneath your ribs. The flush burning your face. Her eyes full of hurt and quiet disbelief cut through any mask you wore. In this room, these feelings are safe. They can rest, unfurl, begin to mend. Now, with me here, is there space to hear what your heart might want to say to the younger you standing at that moment? Let's create space now for a profound encounter, one that asks great courage of you. I invite you to envision your younger self sitting right here in this room with us. See her clearly. The girl with dreams too big for her small hands. The one who built her world around applause and approval. What is your first impulse when you look at her? How could you choose safety over truth? Applause over loyalty? Those words carry the weight of years, don't they? The accumulated pain of choices made in fear. But let's pause there, in that harshness. Breathe with me. something more difficult. Can you speak to that girl not as a judge, but as a witness? As one who has walked the same fearful path. Imagine her eyes meeting yours, wide, uncertain, desperate for understanding rather than condemnation. What will you say to comfort her terror, to honor the courage she didn't yet know she possessed? Perhaps you were so afraid. Your entire world was built on being adored, being seen as perfect. The thought of losing that love felt like disappearing entirely. You didn't know then what you know now. That you could survive disapproval. That your worth existed beyond the crowd's roar. Feel that shift as the words form. The softening around your eyes. The subtle unclenching of your hands. This younger you, she wasn't failing. She was surviving with the limited tools she had, protecting the only sense of self she understood. And yet, beneath that fear, there was always a spark, a quiet knowing that more was possible, that deeper connections awaited beyond performance. Notice what happens in your chest, your throat, your fingertips as compassion flows towards her. Does the familiar tightness ease? Does space open where there was once only judgment? Compassion doesn't ease accountability. It creates breathing room for growth, for understanding, for the possibility of different choices. This is reparenting yourself in real time, offering the grace you wish you received then. What might that younger girl say back to you now, seeing the woman you've become? This dialogue with your past self is sacred work. It transforms guilt into wisdom, shame into strength. Every time you return to her with kindness, rather than criticism, you rewrite the story. Not to ease the past, but to frame it with understanding. You've just witnessed your own healing. A tender bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. Carry that compassion forward. She's always with you, cheering your brave steps. Before the upheaval, before your world shifted beneath you, what did being good mean? It was a dance of compliance, wasn't it? A polished mask, worn with care, bright smiles, graceful words, never stirring the waters surrounding you. Good meant fitting in, sweetness, warmth that soothed rather than unsettled. It was a reassurance package in appearance, a performance perfected for the eyes of others. But that version of good, how much did it serve or protect you? Did it hold back parts of yourself too tender to show, parts aching to speak without fear? There's a story within stories here, the one your heart whispered but your smile refused to tell. After your friendship deepened, your definition of goodness began to feel heavier, didn't it? Something less about being liked and more about standing beside truths that burned and bruise. It means letting go of the illusion that kindness requires ease, that goodness never ruffles feathers or breaks fragile peace. You learn that being good sometimes means standing in discomfort. How long have you wrestled with this new truth? In the quiet moments, the night's darkest hours, it is good to feel like a burden or a balm. The world you live in often demands sparkling facades. A good witch who soothes and reassures without question. But that part born from your friendship, do you feel it stirring inside, asking for genuine reckoning? I hear dialogue emerging. Balcony me who soothes the crowd with hope, and midnight me, raw and insistent, who speaks truths, even when it fractures delight. Can you hear their conversation within? Imagine balcony me urges, keep the peace, hold their hopes safe. Midnight me replies, hope must be real or it'll crumble. They deserve truth, even if it hurts. Balancing these selves isn't easy, but perhaps that is your work now. To allow charm and courage to meet, to open hearts with whispered truths, to gently unravel illusions. How does your body hold this balance? Feel your breath, the pulse at your throat and wrist. If you close your eyes, can you sense how these parts live together? Goodness in this new light becomes mosaic, shattered pieces transformed by fire and care into something breathtaking. And you are its artist, creating beauty from fractured truths. Remember, courage is not a single act, but 1,000 small ones, each gentle, each brave. Tonight, consider what small acts of truth might light your path tomorrow. We've spoken at length about the profound ways she changed you, how her presence reshaped the very foundation of who you believe yourself to be. But let's linger here in this mutual space, this intricate dance of two lives forever entwined. If she was sitting in the empty chair beside you right now, not as a memory, but as a presence, what words would rise? Perhaps you tell her how she pierced through the glittering surface you once wore so effortlessly, how her unyielding questions forced you to confront truths you had long polished away, how her courage became the mirror, reflecting your own hidden depths, urging you towards bravery you never knew you possessed. Your stories didn't merely collide, they became woven together, each thread pulling the other towards growth, towards complexity, towards something far richer than simple judgment. Feel that shift, the moment from one-sided guilt towards shared humanity. You are not merely the one who failed, but also the friend who challenged, who laughed, who cared deeply in your own imperfect way. And she was not merely the catalyst of your pain, but also the awaker of your courage, the mirror that reflected your potential for greatness. Two lives forever changed by collision, a testament to the beauty complexity of human connection, where even pain becomes a teacher, and even failure plants seeds of growth. Tomorrow is a pivotal day, the council meeting. It is a moment where your courage will be tested directly by fear unseen and doubts unspoken. I see you now standing at the edge of that crossroads. Watch your hands, how they might seek strength by pressing against the sides of your chair, or how your foot might tap in restless rhythm beneath the table. Consider the bravery it takes to say no to the easy path, the one lined with applause and reassurance, and instead stand firmly on the rocky ground of truth, even if it means losing approval, even if it means stepping alone. You're not the only one who trembles at this edge. Yet courage is never the absence of fear. It is the resolve to act in its presence. I see your mind weighing the risk, the discomfort of disapproval, the risk of isolation. I see the flicker of resistance, the instinct to shrink and conform. These are honest, natural feelings you can bring to this space without shame. Remember, discomfort is not the end, but the herald of growth. It is that prickling at the skin signaling that boundaries are being redrawn, that new spaces are opening. What do you feel now when you imagine standing in that council chamber, speaking softly but clearly, offering courage amidst fear? Hold that feeling close. It is your beacon through discomfort. It is the truth that no dark corner can fully conceal. As we come to the close of this session, I want us to linger here for a moment longer, to hold space for everything you carry within you, both the brightness you show and the cracks beneath. Think of your younger self, the frightened girl who stepped cautiously into this world. What message do you hold for her now, after all the journeys of courage, regret, and growth you've faced? Now turn your thoughts to her, the friend who touched your heart so deeply, whose life entwined with yours in ways that shattered and rebuilt you both. Imagine this moment. If you could speak all the unspoken words, offer forgiveness where blame weighed heaviest, release doubts that suffocate you still. Here, in this well of healing, I see your cracks not as failures, but as passages for light. They are the marks of a life lived with courage and truth, even when it felt impossible. Each breath you take here is an act of renewal, a promise to yourself that you will carry forward. Not perfect, never flawless, but honest, brave, and whole in your imperfection. Thank you for trusting me with this sacred space. I am honored to walk with you on this journey. The path ahead is yours to claim, one brave step at a